If you own a Nintendo Switch or have a close friend who does, there's a good chance that you've spent a good amount of the past few days playing the hugely anticipated Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Effectively, the last major AAA release of 2018, Ultimate is a hot ticket holiday item and a major boost for the Switch, which, on the whole, has had a somewhat quiet 2018 for new releases, until of course Pokemon came along in November. The brawler's current 93 Metascore makes it the fourth best reviewed video game of 2018 to date. And while it absolutely is a game well worth owning, it's also not without a few tiny, nippy issues. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is exactly what it advertises. It is the ultimate culmination of every Smash game that has come before it, and then some. The series premiered on the Nintendo 64 back in 1999 and has since enjoyed 5 sequels across each of Nintendo's console releases. With each successive game, we have seen more and more playable fighters, stages to fight them on, and game modes to try. This is a series that some of us have been following lovingly for almost 20 years now. So how does the latest installment measure up? My name is Rach, welcome back to WhatCulture Gaming. Let's have a chat about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The core gameplay is as brilliant as ever. Smash Ultimate's gameplay is just absolutely spectacular and arguably the most slickly enjoyable it has ever been. Appearing to run noticeably faster than the last few Smash games, there's also a greater fluidity to the combat. Fighting doesn't feel quite as stiff, making it easier to switch up your approach mid-battle. The sheer amount of combat options available to you is mind-boggling. The suite of pickups is pretty much endlessly entertaining, ensuring that regardless of whether you're playing solo or with pals, this is one of 2018's most ludicrously addictive games. It's also a pleasure to report that the game runs incredibly well in both handheld and docked mode, and though, yes, it is a little tough to keep track of all the fighters and the items and the crazy things on such a small screen, it does little to dilute the heft of that signature Smash gameplay. Of course, it certainly does look nice, that's for sure, and while the Switch is obviously a bit of a dinosaur in the technical department, you'd barely know it from the slick gorgeousness of this game. Maintaining a mostly smooth frame rate during even chaotic combat, while serving up eye-popping animations and beautiful renditions of your favourite characters. This is a real pleasure to the eyes. Though the game has been subject to some technical criticisms due to Ultimate's increased input lag, which appears to be a bizarre intentional choice on Nintendo's part, few are likely to take issue with how sleek the fighters and the environments look, and how gracefully even the most insane maneuver is rendered. It's the tiniest little thing, but the slow motion close-ups of powerful Smash attacks are just so satisfying. They make you feel proper powerful. Smash Bros. Ultimate's immediate appeal is its gigantic roster. Every character that has ever featured in a Smash game is now back. Yes, even little Pichu, who damages himself with his own thunderbolts. God bless that little nerd. Not only that, but we have also seen a very generous amount of new fighters added to the roster, including personal favourites like the Inklings and also Echo fighters such as Daisy and Dark Samus. No longer is this game a celebration of just all things Nintendo, as we see more and more characters from third parties making a comeback, like Solid Snake and Sonic the Hedgehog, and also being introduced, like Castlevania's Simon and Richter. But wait, there's more! Nintendo have also announced that the first fighter in their, admittedly kind of pricey, Season Pass will be Joker from Persona 5. PlayStation exclusive! This is a very good sign for what to expect in the future. Will the millions of Waluigi fans finally have their prayers answered? Let's be honest, probably not. But personally, I'd love to see Kingdom Hearts' Sora making an appearance. It's a no-brainer, really, come on. So let's talk game modes. Brand new to Ultimate is the single-player campaign mode, World of Light, which builds upon adventure modes from previous Smash games to create an intensely mixed bag of ambitious and sometimes underdeveloped ideas. You start the story mode as Kirby, the sole survivor of an attack from the evil Thanos, Galim, who has snapped the other 73 fighters into soulless shells of their former selves. It's up to Kirby to battle these husks in order to return them to life. It's certainly fun at first, and the map is much larger than it initially appears. But after a while, the central loop becomes so transparent and unfixed that it ends up feeling a little bit samey. Clocking in at anywhere from 15 to a reported 40 hours depending on your level of perfectionism, the cinematic quality promised by the opening cutscene just isn't there. And even with some occasional gimmicky fights thrown in for good measure, the core of this whole mode is fundamentally simple. You move around the board game style map from place to place, battling spirits and unlockable fighters for your roster. Defeated spirits can be recruited and equipped like gear and can be utilised to help you progress through the myriad of gimmicks, such as combating an insanely powerful wind speed that bats you off the edge. Seriously, if anyone managed that one without using the wind resistant spirit, I bow before you because that was insane. Spirits are arranged in a traditional rock, paper, scissors format, with each having its own strengths and weaknesses. There's also a risk-reward factor where using a spirit level lower than your opponent will net you better rewards, which is a nice little feature for the hardcores. World of Light is probably best enjoyed if you are someone who revels in revealing every single tiny little spot on a map, such as yours truly, but unless you're especially in love with grinding for loot and unlocks, it otherwise may not hold your attention for long. You'll be glad to hear, of course, Classic Mode is back, but it is better than ever. Taking your favourite fighters through a few tailored matches before finishing with an epic boss battle suited to your fighter. It was an absolute joy to slay my way through Classic Mode as Zelda, to then find myself face to face with Ganondorf and then Beast Mode Ganon, who sports telegraphed attack patterns and has a really big satisfying health bar you can whittle down. This next criticism is sure to be a little bit divisive among fans. Heck, I'm pretty divided on it myself. But it is actually somewhat baffling that in a game designed primarily for local multiplayer, players start with only 8 of the 74 characters unlocked, requiring them to grind their way through to collecting a full set. You can of course do this the long way by playing through World of Light mode or Classic, but many players, however, have had to resort to an exploit of sorts, playing a round of Smash, immediately killing themselves, battling the challenger who shows up, defeating said opponent to unlock them, resetting the game to then negate the 10-minute unlock cooldown, and then repeating the process 70 times. To make matters worse, some of the later unlockable fighters can prove extremely difficult to defeat. There's nothing quite like battling Ganondorf down to his final throws, only for him to suddenly sneeze on you and send you cascading off the map. On the other hand, of course, having the original 8 N64 Smash Bros sitting there just looking out at you from the beginning has a really pleasant, lovely warm feeling of nostalgia. Working through the game, never know who you're going to unlock next, and constantly being excited and surprised with the new challengers that show up is what contributes to this game being such a strong single-player experience, which is what the previous games on the Wii U and the 3DS were, in my opinion, lacking in. In the very least, could there not have been a delineated practice mode where all the fighters were already unlocked, just for the sake of local, fast, easy multiplayer? I'm interested to know your thoughts on this actually, from opinions of those who have played the previous games and those new to the series, so let me know. The core of the Smash series has always been the local multiplayer, because there are few gaming experiences more fun than huddling around a Nintendo console with a group of pals and duking it out with the most iconic video game mascots out there. Incredibly, Smash Ultimate supports up to 8 players on a single Switch, and though most players are likely to get more mileage out of the 4-player mayhem, the result either way is deliriously brilliant chaos. The huge number of presets and also the ability to save those presets is a welcome addition, ensuring you can quickly dive into whatever you and your friends desire. It's the perfect setup for a party where the drinks are flowing and people can drop in and drop out as they please, delivering the same sturdy brilliance it always has. For this reason, it's a bit easier to tolerate the messy online multiplayer, even if it is entirely dependent on you having frequent access to a group of those fabled real-life people friend things. Speaking of online multiplayer, unfortunately, it's a little bit of a mess. Granted, stable online multiplayer never really has been Nintendo's strong suit, yet, despite launching their online subscription service recently, they've offered little to suggest that they're going to put those fees to work crafting a stable online ecosystem. The most frustrating thing is the total lack of consistency. Sometimes games will be buttery smooth, but more often there will be insane lag, and often you may well end up with the infuriating communication error, preventing you from even starting a match. Fair enough, it is pretty well documented that the Switch's Wi-Fi functionality is mediocre at best, but you can't even really pawn the blame off on the game's peer-to-peer connectivity, because other Switch titles have managed this fine since day one. Splatoon 2 in particular. That's not to forget the matchmaking options, while advertising the illusion of choice, don't always work, which really shouldn't be a problem for a game releasing in 2018. If the game can't find you that 1v1 that you're looking for, it might just dump you into a chaotic 2v2 or something and you have no choice but to see the match through. To put it simply, just given how brilliantly crafted the core gameplay is, it's frustrating that the online experience alternates so violently between great fun and rage-inducing trash. Hopefully this is something that Nintendo will continue to support and build on like they have with Splatoon 2. Okay, negatives aside, even if you never touch the online multiplayer or the World of Light mode, there is a mind-boggling amount of content here, and Nintendo absolutely deserves a hand for going above and beyond what we could have expected for the next entry in the series. In addition to the colossal 74 fighter roster, there are more than 100 levels to salivate over, not to mention more fighting presets than ever, the much-loved tournament modes, and a wonderful new Survivor Series-esque team-based mode called Squad Strike. As a package, Smash Ultimate presents literally hundreds of hours of possible gameplay, especially if World of Light sinks its hooks into you. And from a value for money perspective, there are few better gaming purchases you could make right now. It is once again worth reiterating that Smash Ultimate is extremely far from the perfect game, but at the same time, where it matters the most, the game feels like a culmination of everything the series has achieved up to this point, largely thanks to that gigantic roster and dizzying amount of content. The core gameplay has never felt quite so satisfying, and while the next Smash can certainly improve the online multiplayer and the campaign offerings, the basic thrill of beating the snot out of the Wii Fit Trainer really speaks for itself. Local multiplayer is a dying breed these days, but if there ever was a game to revive it, it doesn't get any better than Smash. It truly is the ultimate Smash Brothers game so far. There you go guys, those were my thoughts, but I am really excited to hear yours, so be sure to comment down below. I also really want to know who you're maining, because how do you even choose? Personally quite liking the Inkling so far. Once again, my name has been Rach, we've been WhatCulture Gaming. We'll see you again tomorrow. Cheers guys!